Today we're talking about this. And this. And this. And this. That's basically the whole Große Fuge, but not really. Incomprehensible, an indecipherable, uncorrected horror. Armageddon, the chaos out of which life itself evolved. The most perfect miracle in music. It is also the most absolutely contemporary piece of music I know, and contemporary forever. For me, the Große Fuge is not only the greatest work Beethoven ever wrote, but just about the most astonishing piece in musical literature. The Große Fuge, or Great Fugue, is probably the most controversial piece of music ever written. Even now in the 21st century, scholars debate its construction. Musicians struggle with the mental and physical demands it requires to perform it, and listeners continue to be dazed and confused about what they've just heard. It defies categorization and is absolutely one of a kind. In music history, it is a bit of a leviathan, a behemoth, and its impact on music can never be overstated. Originally intended to serve as the finale to his Opus 130 Quartet, it was later separated and given its own opus number of 133. During the premiere of Opus 130, which of course concluded with the Great Fugue, instead of attending the concert, Beethoven was drinking at a local pub. Immediately after the performance, Karl Holz, the second violinist of the Chopin-Z Quartet, ran to Beethoven to give a full report. He told him the premiere was an absolute success and that the audience demanded encores of 2 of the inner movements. But Beethoven was furious. He apparently growled, and why didn't they encore the fugue? That alone should have been repeated. Cattle! Asses! Now I can understand why the fugue was not a hit with audiences. I would argue that it's not that different today. It's long, it's full of paradoxes, it's so forward-thinking that it's hard to even recognize it as coming from Beethoven's mind. I mean, there are times where it is pure cacophony. But there are also moments of floating innocence. Playfulness and charm. And fury. But most importantly, triumph and soul. As I was thinking about how to explain this fugue, I realized it was futile. It would be like trying to analyze how Michelangelo made David, or how the Egyptian pyramids were built. Yes, the Große Fuge is a double fugue, uses the same 4-note motive prevalent in 132, 130, and 131, is a feat of genius in its variations of the theme in inversion, retrograde, augmentation, and diminution, and yes, at the beginning when I said that the whole fugue presents all of its material in the first 30 measures, I was not kidding. As impressive and unprecedented as it is, in the end, its meaning cannot be extracted from its construction. Beethoven's music is great because it's the ultimate form of self-expression. I don't think he wrote in hopes that we would fully understand it. I think he went to the extreme. I think he went there in hopes that he could tap into a deeper human expression by doing so. He worked tirelessly to discover something new, and he wanted his listeners to experience that. In the end, critics and listeners strongly condemned the fugue, and Beethoven's publisher, Matthias Artaria, approached Beethoven about writing an alternate finale to Opus 130. It's difficult to know why someone who was so stubborn and had so much artistic integrity agreed. Perhaps he needed the extra money, perhaps he knew he had gone too far, or perhaps he knew that what he had accomplished was extraordinary enough to deserve its own opus number. Whatever the case, the last thing he ever wrote in his life was the accessible, optimistic, and fun alternate finale that the public asked for. And to tell you the truth, it's really good too.